Welcome back, guys. I'm going to do my driver advisory board recap video. First video besides the introduction video that's in this new truck with the new setup. So see how it all goes here. Just kind of wanted to give a brief recap. My goal isn't to talk about every single thing that was discussed in the driver advisory board meeting. If you keep tabs on the driver advisory board website, and I'll put a link to that in the description, they do release the minutes of the meeting. They're not, it's not by any stretch a, what do you call it? It's not a word by word, everything that was discussed, but it is a line by line item that was discussed. But, they're not going to transcript. It's not a transcript of what was discussed, and every single thing that was said is not put in there, but it will be a lot more detailed about some of the items that were brought up at the meeting. But I just kind of wanted to recap my experience. It was the second one that I went to. I went in November. Unfortunately, I missed the February meeting. Had a personal situation in February, couldn't make that meeting, but went again. And our next meeting is coming up at the end of October, which at this point, knock on wood, I am planning to be at. Biggest difference this time, as opposed to the last one that I went to, they had us take a class that is a new class coming to Prime, and in fact, they are just now rolling it out. So the day that I'm recording this video is the first day they're offering it to whoever wants to take the class. But they had us take the class, all the driver advisory board members. I don't want to use the term guinea pigs, but kind of to give feedback, to say, here's what the class is, here's what we're going to teach, what are we missing, what should we be offering, is there anything else that you would add to this particular class. And it's put on by Road Assist. Road Assist, if you're not familiar with Prime, they are the department, they are the go-between between the drivers and the shop. If you are out on the road and you need assistance, Road Assist, they are the ones that you get a hold of. If you have a breakdown, if you have a tire blowout, if you have something wrong with your trailer, anything along those lines, if you need to set up an appointment in the shop, Road Assist is the people that you talk to. So Road Assist decided, let's create a class. And the point of this class is not really the shop specifically. It's actually to save people money. It's basic maintenance. So the name of the class is Pro Maintenance 1.0. And it's real simple stuff. It's stuff that you don't have to be a mechanic to be able to figure out. Obviously, there are guys that want to wrench on their trucks, do their own oil changes, change a shock, do a lot of heavy-duty actual maintenance on their trucks. And maybe a lot is the wrong word. There's those guys that have that experience, and that's what they want to do. Then there are the in-between people, the folks that are comfortable, adding coolant, making small, replace a headlight, replace the windshield wipers, do a mud flap, change out a mud flap, change the air filter, things like that. And then there are the people that don't feel comfortable doing anything because they don't want to do that on their own personal vehicles at home. And really, it's that last group. It's the people that aren't comfortable grabbing a wrench, grabbing anything beyond doing a pre-trip on a truck that this is targeting. And it's giving specific examples and saying, if you're able to change the air filter in your truck, you spend X amount of dollars for the part, and it might take you 15 minutes, might take you half an hour if you're real slow and you drop a screw or you drop a bolt. It might take you a little bit longer, but you're going to spend that amount of time, and you're going to save a whole bunch of money, because if you go into a shop, you might wait 3 hours for an opening in a shop. If you're on the road and you stop at a TA Petro or some independent shop, you might have to wait 3 hours for an opening. Or if you're coming through the yard, if you're coming to Springfield or Salt Lake City or Pittston, you might wait 3 hours or more for an appointment to get something like an air filter changed. So first of all, you've got all that time wasted. Plus, the shop then is going to charge you probably up to an hour of labor. At least a half an hour's worth of labor. And Prime, I will give Prime a ton of credit. They're pretty reasonable on labor. Their rate is very competitive in the industry for diesel mechanics, diesel technicians. But if you can do it yourself, that rate is zero, and nobody can compete with zero if you're able to do some simple things yourself. So again, the basic concept is you can change your own headlights, you can change your own air filters, you can change a mud flap. And when it's something like a trailer that has a mud flap that needs to be replaced, because trailers do need mud flaps replaced, and your argument may be, well, it's Prime's equipment, I don't care. I'll let the shop deal with it because I don't want to mess with it. Here's the thing. If you replace a trailer mud flap, Prime is going to pay you $50 for your time, because first of all, you're saving them from going into a shop that's going to charge them labor. They'll reimburse you for the purchase of a new mud flap. Plus, they'll, like I said, they'll reimburse you if you need new nuts and bolts to put the mud flap on. There's going to be 3 or 4 nuts and bolts. And then same thing, they're going to pay you $50 for your time to put that mud flap on. And it's going to save you the time that you would be down in the shop. And like I said, there are some people that just aren't comfortable doing that. And in the end, that's fine. But if you want to make a couple of bucks and save yourself some time, but you just don't know how some of this stuff works, that's what this class is. And there were 6-8 specific stations, and so it was a classroom setup where they kind of went over, and then it was hands-on. It was, let's get your hands on some of this stuff and show you how it works, show you how to replace a mud flap, show you how to change a headlight, show you how to change an air filter, and like I said, change a fuse. It's very simple stuff, but I think it's a fantastic class for those people that aren't really comfortable doing that sort of stuff, and in the long run it's going to save you a bunch of money. So that's a new class. It is now available at Prime. Again, we kind of went through and as they were going through the class, we kind of stopped them and said, you should mention this here, you should mention that there, maybe you should add this as another station somewhere down the line, maybe you should do a second version of the class where you get a little bit more in depth and talk about some other things. So it was a good experience to take that class and be able to help get it set up. So again, we did that on Sunday morning, and then the second part of the first day of Driver Advisory Board are small meetings. They have one meeting for the refrigerated division drivers, reefer drivers, and then they have a second meeting for tanker, flatbed, and intermodal drivers. And those, it's basically a pre-meeting for the day-long meeting, which in this case was on a Monday. So Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, 2 small group meetings. It's the facilitator, and again, if you have never been in an environment like this, there's one person who basically runs the meeting. It's a consultant, not a Prime employee, but he sits down at those meetings on Sunday, and all of the stuff. So I've talked over the past, at this point, 6 months. It usually is 3 months. I've talked with a number of different drivers. They've given me thoughts. Folks have presented questions via the email, which again, find the email in the description of this video. If you commented and you said something that was of note, I will take it to that Sunday pre-meeting. And it's not always Sunday. It's, in fact, in October it'll be on a Tuesday. It's but the pre-meeting is when we present all of that information to the facilitator of the Driver Advisory Board. And he weeds through and figures out what format, sorts it out, and puts it into categories and says, well, at this point we're going to bring up, these 10 items, and at this point we're going to bring up these 10 items. So that's what that meeting is all about. It's talking, and so obviously refrigerated being the largest division within Prime, they have their own small group meeting, and then flatbed, tanker, and intermodal. and we talk about the things not necessarily germane just to our divisions. You know, I can come with a topic that I feel is important to everybody at Prime, but obviously if there's anything that is tanker specific, I'm going to bring it up in that meeting as well. So that's the pre-meeting, day one. The next day is a full day of meetings. Starts at 7 a.m. and is scheduled to go until 5:30. As anyone who has ever been in a day-long meeting with, I don't know the exact number of people, upwards of 70, 80 people in a meeting, it ran long. Not really a surprise, but what they do in that meeting is, as I said, they have all those topics that were brought up the day before, and they are interspersed throughout the day. But Prime has a number of presentations. After you get through introductions, you go through big picture things, the economy, the state of trucking, how our load, are we going to see an increase in the number of loads available? 2018 was an unbelievable year for trucking, tons of loads. 2019 has cooled off just a little bit, but still is fairly strong. Before that, it was much lower, so folks who are new in trucking might think that this is a terrible year, when really, if you look back to 2017 and 2016, this is not a bad year. It's just down from how fantastic 2018 was. So we talk about a lot of stuff like that. Sales comes in. They talk about the customers, some of our biggest customers, some new contracts, some contracts that are changing, and that's primarily amongst reefer. They'll talk tanker and flatbed and intermodal later in the presentation. They talk about the safety division, safety department comes up. They come in and have a presentation, talk about the safety numbers, any changes that are coming. They addressed e-logs. If anyone's followed along with that, Prime is not officially on e-logs right now. They are on the electronic logging system, but haven't made that final transition to ELDs right now, which is mandated December 17th of this year. So there was a discussion about what will change from what we're doing now to what will happen in just a few months here. Road Assist came on. They talked a lot about the class that we went through, talked about some maintenance issues, and then we get to that operations point where flatbed and tanker gets an opportunity to talk about some of the other things that are going on. We talk about the training program, and of course, training is a huge topic at Prime. Prime is a massive training company, and as many of you know, there have been some significant changes in the training program at Prime, so that was a big topic. And the way these topics all go, before I'll go with the last couple of topics, Success Leasing comes up. They talk about some of the truck contracts, are we going to get different trucks, what's happening with some of the technology, and then IT, information technology, comes in. They talk about our app, our website. We just updated the website within the last few. So what happens usually with these is there's someone within the company who makes a presentation, talks about what's going on. They have some video material, and then it's a question and answer session. So it's not just force-fed information and we sit and try not to fall asleep as we listen. It's a back and forth, and Prime very much values the feedback that they get from the drivers. If there's a topic brought up on technology, whether it's something in the truck, if there's something that's working, if there's something that's not working, I give Prime a ton of credit as far as the driver advisory board. There was a topic very specific that I brought up that was addressed almost immediately. It was something that some other drivers had brought to me. They didn't feel as though they were getting the answers that they had hoped for. I brought it up and I got an immediate answer, because you have everybody in the room. It's unbelievable when like I said, there's 70 some, maybe 80 people in a room, and I'm talking about the head of every division of the company, talking about Robert Lowe, president, owner of the company, numerous fleet managers, numerous other people within the company. And if you have a question about how something works, or if you have an issue that has been brought up, they're all in the room, and you can get an answer and a resolution a lot of times just like that. And if there's been a problem, you can get it solved right then and right there. And sometimes it's just a matter of, you're banging your head against the wall talking to a fleet manager and haven't had an opportunity to go above their head, and that's just sometimes what has to happen. And you're in a situation where you have all the people that need to hear about a problem in the room at the same time, and they say, well, yeah, that shouldn't be happening, and it gets solved. And Prime has done, I think, a fantastic job of resolving issues and listening to the problems that have been brought by drivers. So that's my driver advisory board. And again, I didn't really want to get into more of the specifics. I'll link that website for the driver advisory board. They'll be coming out with the minutes of the meeting. And I don't know exactly when, but that will be on that website shortly. And I look forward to going back in October. It's a great opportunity to take the concerns. I'm in Decatur every single day. Tanker drivers, not just that do what I do, but the over-the-road drivers come through. They can come and find me whenever they have a question or concern. They can reach out, and if there's ever any kind of problems, it's a great opportunity for us to address them in front of, like I said, everybody at the company. It's your driver advisory board update for summer 2019. Thanks so much for watching. If you do have anything for DAB, go to that driver advisory board website. There is a contact. If you fill something out on that, it gets sent via email to every single driver advisory board member, not just me. Every single driver advisory board member gets an email, and you will get a reply, usually same day, usually within half an hour to an hour or so. If it's something that might take a little more investigation, it might take a little bit longer to get you a reply. But or if you are a Prime driver, you can submit questions via the app. So do that as well. If you don't want to have everybody know what questions you are asking, email right in the description. You can send questions directly to me, and I will do my best to get you an answer. And of course, you can comment on this video as well. And if it's something that I need to take to the board, I sure will do that in October. Thanks for watching. If you are not a Prime driver, you can also click on that link in the description. It takes you to the application if you want to come to Prime. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk a little bit more about this new truck next time. There's a couple of things. I've driven it now, loaded, unloaded, bobtail, so I know a little bit more about the automatic. I'll give you some first thoughts on that. And I purchased a new product for this truck and just had it installed. Or just installed it myself, I should say. So I'll give a review of a new product that I purchased for this truck. That's going to be coming up in a video shortly as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.